Good morning, everyone. I hope that you all can hear me. So you all can use Q&A section to put in all your queries. We will be starting in 5 to 10 minutes. Uh, we're just waiting for other people to join. Thank you.
Hi guys, a very good morning. I appreciate you joining on a Saturday morning. Just allow us some time so that we can, just wait for a few more people to join in and then start the session. Thank you so much for your patience. Uh, Guys, I know you must be having a lot of questions here when you're joining the session. It would be like a lot of queries you're having in mind and you want an answer to those. We are here to help you with that. Kindly just go ahead and type out your questions in Q&A session and we'll take it up one by one. Right, so any questions that you have for us, just keep typing in the Q&A sessions. Yes, so we have the first question from Govind. Asking, is this session relevant to full stack web development? Yes, this session would be all about full stack development, and yes, your question about the web full stack development will also be covered in this. So just be a little patient and just allow us some time so that we start the session and you get to know what all would be a part of it. I again, appreciate you for your patience. I know a lot you can do on a Saturday morning, but you choose to be here. This shows the seriousness and dedication that you have towards your career. So we won't take much of your time, just another 2-3 minutes, and then we go ahead with the session. So thank you so much. Let's start the session for today. We have one of our mentors, named Swati, who will take up the session ahead for you all. However, before that, just a quick introduction about myself. I am I'm the student counselor at Unikaksha, and I'll be taking up all the question type and Q&A which are relevant. And I'll just pass it on to Swati so that she can take it ahead from now. Swati?
Yeah, hi everyone. Good morning. A very good morning to each one of you. It's a Saturday morning. I know you guys would be thinking, yeah, what we are doing over here, but it's just a very, it's going to be an interesting session where we'll talk about step-on-step guide how to become a full stack web developer, full stack developer in, in sense. And talking about myself, I'm a senior Java associate here at Unikaksha. So I'll be heading on this session along with Ruby today. So a full stack development professional, you could say, is the one who has sound technical knowledge of the key elements of development, right? So if you guys are already from this field, you might be aware of some terms like front end, back end, database management, version control, operating system design. These days, it's quite in hype, So among other details of the technologies. So these are some of the basic that, for any full stack developer to be aware of. So now the next thing is it's actually a sought after career option today, So companies, they are actively seeking developers who have sound specialization in the multiple fields that I've already discussed or I've already put forward. Now, however, today the definition of full stack has become quite dynamic and in some aspects company specific too. Okay, so for example, cloud computing and deployment are some of the skills that a full stack developer should have along with the ones that are stated, just right before. A full stack web developer or a developer, they eliminate the need to hire individual role specific people by handling the entire application themselves. So, that would eliminate the need to hire each of the developer individually, maybe let's say for DBA, for, front end, for back end. So therein they get a whole package in just a full stack developer. So the real question right now would be how to master both simultaneously, right? The front end or the back end over here. And is it difficult to be a master of both, right? So when we started learning, that is a process. You say, okay, I've started with front end and I'm pretty okay with it. And now you delve into back end. So is it difficult to master both of the streams over here? Well, I would say the answer is a yes and a no. So initially mastering both backend and front end technologies together is futile, as you will leave out the chance of thoroughly understanding either one. And I would say you will end up sabotaging both stacks over there. So initial phase would be, I just have to get to know this, right? I'll just have, but will you be putting much efforts into that? So that where you have to, think about, stop and, reconsider again. So the best way to become a full stack developer is to specialize, initially either in front end or back end while having a working knowledge of the other. So you specialize in front end and then you have a working knowledge of back end. That's going to put you in a full stack developer, you could say, mode. And similarly, you can do the vice versa. If you specialize in back end but have a working knowledge of front end, while you are improving the other, the one that you're still learning, it's going to put you in a good shape over there. So adopting this method, I would say, you will enable or this will enable you to collaborate on projects early on, because now you will be given an opportunity to work on the entire application. I would say, I won't say rather alone, but yes, in a team, but you will be responsible for most of the parts of it. So companies, they follow their own tech stack, as you might be aware of. You move to a, let's say you've been, hired for one stack, you move in, but there is a different stack which is going on. So that is a different story, as and that's also company specific at points. And you should be in a position to shift, to their tech stack from your working stack. So you have to be able to take that leap, take that step, something which might be different. Not, but they are all kind of like similar, not similar, but you'll be able to grab on once you are a full stack developer. So, but then again, to have a career growth in those companies, you need to be a full stack developer. Okay. So you need to have the knowledge of, I would say, rather much, spread tech stack over there to, excel in your career path. So startups, like if you talk about startups, they prefer to hire full stack developers, aware of it or not. But this is the case that have, it's relevant these days. You'll see, they are actually going to hire full stack developers because startups, they have lean teams, right? And the lean team structure over there. So they are always on the lookout for the multitaskers. So having a full stack developer is also going to, it's going to be more profitable for them, right? Than hiring, naive developers or, the niche developers belonging to just one domain. So that's one thing. So why the next thing is, why should you become a full stack developer? So let's, get this thing cleared first. So I would say there are a few reasons. I would rather say that there are, top 3 reasons why you should consider becoming a full stack developer. And the first would be that you would be building your unique proprietary software products. So every company or developer, they follow their own, tech stacks, right? While building a product. So every product has its own requirements, and the best set of technology is chosen, accordingly to satisfy the need of it. The use of such diverse technologies make the code base of a project complex, and this eventually creates a unique code for a particular product. So companies adopting full stack development will have this edge for themselves, right? Because they have worked on some, particular technology. They are working on that tech stack. So they are the owner of it. So that's give them a cutting edge over here, because they are the only one who is responsible for this product. They know in and out of it. No one else, at the very early stage, no one else would be able to maybe handle the project efficiently. So they have this, you could say, any company out there have this benefit if they are a product-based company, that this product belongs to them. They know how this functions, what tech stack they have used, what is the whole architecture of it, right? So that is like you'll be building unique proprietary software products over there. The next would be a huge arsenal of technologies ensuring cutting edge product development. Now, full stack developers, have a working experience of several front end and back end technologies, languages and frameworks both. So you'll start with maybe HTML, CSS, JavaScript, jQuery, Python, maybe working on with Ruby on Rails, Java, different frameworks like Django, maybe Spring, Hibernate, REST APIs, whatever is the tech stack that is being followed, So you need to grow your skills in, the basics or the fundamentals of programming, and then you have to reach to or go to the next stage, which is there, learn about different frameworks, specialize to some electives over there. So that should be the, I would say that would be the learning curve that you have to follow. And this diverse working knowledge, it gives developers the flexibility to, you could say, to tailor the techs or tools needed for the project as per the needs and requirements to create the product, as whole. So since every technology has something different to offer, broadly in terms of, I would say, syntaxes, the execution time, the compilation or the performance, the code reusability. So you will have a better understanding of what goes best with the product that you need to deliver. So another example is that, web developers with front-end knowledge can easily convert animations and graphics, right? offered by any software, like you talk about Photoshop, or we have design or UX tools like Figma, Canva, directly through the front end code. You give them the layout, this get started working on it. Yeah. So thereby they reduce the dependency on any such, third party proprietary software. Limiting knowledge of basic styling tools will bind the developer, right? It's going to bind the developer to use any third party software, and thus it's going to burden the project budget as well, right? Similar advantage is there for the backend scenarios as well. And thus knowing several essential tools at your disposal, it's going to open up the innovative approaches to, make a project, to complete that project. Okay. The third is knowing full stack offers rapid growth in your job role. So now you are responsible for everything. You are someone who is sought after, as I've already mentioned. Now, to be a project manager, let's say, generally the top of hierarchy over here, of a project team, knowing full stack development is helpful, as you should be able to, assimilate both the front end and back end, mainly amongst the other tasks like maybe database management, or if you're into cloud also, the cloud services as well. Now, becoming a dedicated developer, may often lead you to crossroads in your projects, and due to this, companies often, I would not say that they completely ignore the, niche developers which are there, but then they are getting into this practice of avoiding such developers, those who are just specialized in maybe just one way or the other, and they are not open to maybe upskilling or, scaling to projects like that. So if you are a full stack developer, you have the growth that you have, the growth spurt that you get, that's tremendous. Now, the next thing is, what does a full stack developer do, right? We've talked about the growth, why we should be one. The key elements, that define a full stack developer are, you have to master the skills as a bundle, is what makes a developer truly full stack. I would say that a little bit of the Java maybe, and you say, and you're good in web development. I would not say that you are a full stack developer over there, because then you should be able to handle both the aspects. You should not be dependent. So that thing has to be there when you are working towards full stack development. The front end development, I would say, treated as a Picasso, So this is the client side part that we're talking about, where we have front end development, right? The part of the website a user creates and interacts with. What do we see at our end? Right now, you're on Zoom client. Now, what do you see? That's a user interface, right? That's the front end. A developer needs to get creative over here and innovative with graphics, yes, and designs for this part. So UI UX is a challenging task in itself, and it's a crucial task, because on this only depends that whether any user is going to interact with your product or not, right? So if it's going to be a cumbersome product, if it's going to be something that the user is not able to get, it's not looking good, will you visit that site again? Are you going to work on that app again? No, right? So that is also, designing is also a very crucial task. The main technologies required for front-end development are, you might have heard of HTML5, CSS3, JavaScript along with ES6. For the real bank, you can use jQuery, Angular, React, Ajax, and like the libraries and frameworks to make your website trendy. So a knowledge of that is required. Just a basic knowledge of web, I won't say is going to take you a little, far, but along with different libraries, JS libraries, different frameworks, it's going to be a full package over there. Now the backend development. This is the brain of any application or any product that you're building. And honestly, it needs some brain to build that. Okay, the backend. You've got the front end. You have the front end in front of you. you are trying to interact. Maybe there are different buttons on it, different, images, you try to click on it, try to fetch some data. But how will the interactivity will not come, the data is not going to come if you have not applied any backend over there. It's just going to be a simple, I would say, rather a simple page in front of you. So to build, any application, you need, for the backend parts, you again have to apply your brains. Okay, so all the crazy things that your application should be able to do, is be scripted on the side of the app. That is what we call as server side. So client has done what we are able to see. The next part is the server side. So accessing and usage of DBs, the authentication, the logging, the validation, etc. Some of the many things that needs to be done over here. So backend developers, they build and maintain the server side technology, which is needed to power the components which enable the user facing side, right? The user facing side of any website, web app to exist. This includes maybe the core application logic, which is what is the logic of this application. So that needs to be also done, right? What this whole application do, the database, the integration part, APIs, other backend processes, that all handling of your servers, everything that comes into this backend part. So if you are looking to hone your popular technologies, make sure you have a solid understanding of all the concepts which are covered in your backend development, right? So then the third which comes is the databases. You also work with database. To store and retrieve data, you need a database, right? So there is lots and lots of information which basically flows when you have a application. So there are two types of database, which we'll be discussing, later on in our upcoming Guru classes, which is SQL versus NoSQL. So developers should be familiar with both types of database, at least a working knowledge. You should be proficient in one, what I believe, and the other you should be aware of, that this exists, this can be used. Okay, so you should be familiar with both types of databases, SQL and NoSQL, and where the one can be used, in what scenarios you can use which one. So that is also an absolute plus over here if you have the knowledge. The next thing which comes in is the version control system. Now, what's a version control system? So every product or application, it goes through many versions and revisions. So you have versions, right? You have updates coming up. You have, beta versions as well. So we have versions, we have revisions before, getting the product compiled and deployed. Okay, so a version control system should be learned and used. And the popular version control system is GitHub. You might have heard of that. GitHub, GitLab, you have Apache Subversion. So knowledge of any of would actually is actually essential over here to know about Git and GitHub again. Okay, so to learn about maybe Git commands, what are the essential Git commands would come in handy. So using version control is a common practice now, and one of the good habits for a developer to have over here. So among other things, a full stack developer should also know, you could say like command line operating, different operating systems. Somewhere you are also, it's preferred that you have the knowledge of Linux based systems, right? Different deployment methods, cloud services like GCP, AWS, Azure, etc. So knowing the cloud computing or cloud related services is something that is also expected from a full stack developer these days. But that should be learned preferably only after having a solid working stack for development. So I'm not saying that you delve into cloud right away. First you get your ground firm on the basic, the development which is there, the programming concepts, building the UI, then you shift to that. Once you know that you are very good with the front end and back end, then you delve into the cloud computing part. So Hina, do we have any questions coming up over here? Sorry, Ruby.
So Swati, yes, we had some questions which we have answered already in the chat box in the Q&A.
Okay, sure.
Yes. So I think we can take ahead the session, as in when we have questions, we will just get those answered for you.
Okay, now talking about major job responsibilities of full stack developers, right? Now, what comes or what are the responsibilities of any full stack developer? So as we've talked about, you are responsible for front end, you're responsible for back end. So developing front end website architecture is onto your hands. Designing user interactions on web pages to make it visually appealing so that people could interact, on it as well. Developing the backend website applications, so creating, managing servers and databases for functionality. Designing and developing effective APIs, again, the task of a full stack developer. Then you have to be also responsible for choosing the best tech stack for the product, the approach that you need over there. The responsiveness of the application. If does it have to be responsive for different screen sizes, or in any of the however way. Then you'll be working alongside with the designers, the graphic designers for web design features. You'll be collaborating with other teams, as I say, and not just you'll be working among among the team that you are assigned to. So you'll be collaborating with designers team, the different business analyst teams. Then you'll also be working along with the testing teams, and so you have to be open to working along with teams as well. Then seeing through a project, you could say, from conception to finished product. So that is again going to be your job. So your job as a full stack developer is not only going to be working on one single module. You'll be involved right from the start to the end of any product. So meeting the clients as well, to understand their technical needs and the product that needs to be delivered. That is again going to come into your basket over there. Now, testing and fixing bugs or other coding issues, so that the user testing, your testing part has to be done. So you have to test the product as well, troubleshoot, debugging, upgrading of the software, everything that comes to the in the responsibilities of a full stack developer. Create the security and data integrity settings. That again, one thing, when you'll be working with a database, so you'll be responsible for the integrity and security of the data. You have to be you could say abreast with the different web application frameworks which are coming up, the libraries or the softwares or the languages which are coming up. Maybe something which might be of value in your own product that you are developing, or some for your future reference. So you have to be upskilled at all levels over there. The cross-platform optimization for the mobile phones or the mobile apps that you're building. Documenting the application thoroughly. The documentation should be there. It should not be like that you just make a product and you leave it without any document. So a thorough documentation of the application is also to be kept while. So I think that's a lot of responsibilities for any full stack developer, what he can undertake. But this is something crucial for any developer out there, aspiring to be a full stack developer, that he should be aware of. So now I think Vijay, I suppose you might have something to add over here.
Yes. So, guys, let's do one activity. Let us just check how attentive were you throughout the session when Swati was explaining about the responsibilities. So, we will run a quick poll here, right? So, uh, let me just ask you, can you identify the responsibilities of a developer, right? So, you have, 4 options here. You can choose any of those, which includes meeting the clients, partner with other teams, quality testing, and all of the above. You have a little time to vote for this. Let's go for it. We are just ending the poll now. So if you haven't answered, go for it right now. Okay, so now we have ended the poll and we do have the results. So I think majority of the people, 70% of them are attentive right now. I would request the rest 30 also to pay attention and listen, to the session, because it's going to be very informative and it is going to help you, just decide things for your career. So Swati, over to you again.
So, okay, but that was a good thing. Yeah. So I have majority of you listening and being attentive over here. Now let's discuss about some, popular tech stacks and which one is best for you. So that's up to you to, basically decide. So every company, they follow their own tech stack, and the choice of a stack for a full stack web developer depends on the individual goals, maybe what you are trying to achieve, what kind of a developer you want to become, based on the different techs which are available, the performance which is expected out of you as well as from the application that you are trying to build. What are the company requirements if you're already working for the company, or if you're aspiring to join any company of your own choice, or maybe your dream about a company. So you should be aware about all of those things before. And over the years, some tech stacks have become popular. They have remained same, I would say. And that's thanks to their awesome capabilities and easy to use features that they're providing. To know which tech stacks are here to stay, you could again, so kind of a tech stack, it comprises of, what is a tech stack? It's a technology stack, and it comprises of all the front-end technologies, the programming languages, the different frameworks, the back-end technologies, and DB management technologies, or the systems, or what kind of languages to go for. Okay. The cloud services, the version control system, the system design, again, that is one thing. I missed out earlier. The system design, you should be aware about HLD, LLD, both of it. So the most popular tech stacks recommended for full stack developer, which is in demand these days, is MERN stack. You might have heard of MERN a lot more than I'll be doing right now. But MERN stack is actually very popular these days. And, so MERN is a short of MongoDB, Express.js, React, and Node.js. So for MERN stack, you have to start with, HTML, CSS, JS, which is common, then move on to the MERN development. Get a knowledge of NoSQL database that, stores the data in binary JSON format, BSON, which is called. Then you also need to master another thing, which is Express, which is a backend web application framework for Node.js. And it's used for designing and building web applications quickly and easily. Then you have React. It's a library, JS library used for building interactive user interfaces. And Node.js is a server side. Now basically MERN has covered everything over here. So Node.js is a server side JS runtime environment. So that is for the MERN stack. So MERN stack is quite popular. Now you have another stack, which is LAMP, or if you want, I like how I called it, it's LAMP stack. Okay. So you may start with the old school tech stack over here, but do not wind yourself up too much. around this one. So it starts with Linux. You do have a basic knowledge of Linux. It's an open source operating system. This is the foundation for LAMP stack model. Then you have Apache, which is a web server, that which you can basically delivers, web content to the internet. It's one of the most popular HTTP client on the web. Then the next M is your MySQL. It's an open source database that you should be aware of, and PHP for the server side open source scripting language. Then the next stack, which is again popular, is mean stack. Everything here remains the same apart from React. You now have to deal with Angularjs, which is again a framework for building single page client application SPAs using HTML and TypeScript. Okay, and it implements core and optional functionality as a set of TypeScript libraries. So now how mean and MERN are different. In MERN you'll be doing React, but over here you'll be doing Angularjs. So if you're just getting started, JavaScript based tech stacks are relatively fun. I would say they are relatively fun. They are more sought after, and they are easy to learn compared to its counterparts. You talk about Python, you talk about Java. So JavaScript is, relatively it's fun and easy to start with, to start learning, and build a promising career into it. So you can always dig into the other frameworks which are there. If you want to go for Java, Python, that's up to your choice, which is what you choose for. So different Python based frameworks like Django, Flask, or Java like Spring Boot, Hibernate. So once you're familiar with the working elements required for a full stack development. So let's say you have a knowledge of Java, but frameworks is something that you're lacking in. You have to do the frameworks as well to have a full stack knowledge of it, right? So as told before, requirements, they vary, but the core essence is pretty much the same all the time. Now, LAMP stack is just not preferred these days, though it's a good one, but that's just not preferred. You can, from this LAMP also, Linux is something that the knowledge of it might come into handy for you for maybe the operating system. Why it's not preferred? Because of its low productivity. Also, the architecture is complex. But MERN stack developer skills, the mean stack developer skills, they are hot and trending now. I would say these are the trending tech stacks out there. So difference between the two is React and Angular. So whatever you choose, it's going to be, good for you in both of the ways. So it is safe to conclude that you can start off with React and go on mastering it for a while and then you can move to Angular. So in that way, you will be mastering both of the stacks, MERN and mean. You start with MERN. Later on, once you're confident with the MERN stack, you can simply, move to mean as well. So that would be a smooth transition and it would, be easy as well. So in that way, you'll be master of both the stacks. So I would recommend MERN over here, and we have an exciting program. We have a very good full stack development program for MERN development. And why? As it's the most recommended stack. What are the top reasons? I would give you some quite of the reasons why it's the recommended stack. Website performance. So since React is used over here, and so React is only a library and it is super easy to integrate it in your front end. Okay. And hence it is not, something which is too complex. It is great in UI rendering, the rendering becomes easy with it. So the next I would say is the effective contracts between the client server. So this stack, it uses JavaScript for both server and client-side scripting, and this makes the code much more efficient to write and implement, So here you will be using just JavaScript. Either you do the client side or the server side. The uniformity is there for the MERN stack. So the MERN stack, it uses only the JS language majorly, which makes the code more uniform and straightforward throughout. Okay. The community support, as MERN is open source, so it there are so many, awesome communities that are out there for React related queries, for Node queries and support, that you can actually work and make good use of them being on such, amazing platforms. There are many popular companies which are running on React. The most popular, I'll say, is Facebook. You have Netflix, Dropbox. So Airbnb, all of these are working on React, So React, and especially MERN, is, I would say, is the holy grail for, the startups websites which are there. So hence there is a growing demand for MERN specialized full stack developers in the upcoming startup world, So yeah.
Sorry, Swati, we just have a quick poll to run here.
Sure.
As Swati just mentioned that, what scope you have when you actually choose your career in, full stack development. Let's just quickly run a poll and, just know how many of us wants to build the career in, FSD. So we're just running a poll right now. You have a minute to answer this, and you can choose what you want here. So, yes. We are just about to end the poll, so if you haven't answered yet, please go ahead and click an option, either a yes or a no. Thank you so much. The poll has ended. Yes, Swati, so we can just go ahead with another topic. We have, a lot of people who wants to build career in full stack web development. Now I think you can explain the career opportunities that we have here.
So before we move on to, how, what we offer kind of way and what are the different career options, the full stack, the skills or, the roadmap that you have to take to be a full stack developer. So it is a recommended practice again to begin your full stack journey with front end and progressively move into the back end. Okay, so this is because in the elaborate learning process for the momentum to be there, the start should be exciting, right? So if from the start I'll tell you, it has to be boring lectures, so that won't be fun. So but front end is actually very exciting. So you start, whenever you are starting with full stack development, start with the front end. That's going to be that's something that I tend to think of as, kind of like a very exciting phase in learning full stack development. So you will be motivated at all times, when you'll be started with it. So you can see all the moving parts while developing a site's front end, and which instills fun and motivation. When you see that it's actually coming up on the screen, oh, wow, I've made this layout. So that's actually going to boost up the confidence over there as well. So while the backend is usually complex and requires some critical thinking to perceive it, it often becomes a bummer for, the beginners sometimes. So whenever, if you're just starting with full stack development, start with web development as in the first thing, okay? Now the, the things that you might, or the different, tech stacks that you need. 1 second. So web development basics is something that you have to be aware of, for any, here you'll start with HTML, CSS, maybe how the web works. So the first thing that you have to, start with how web works. What all things go inside it. So that is the developer essentials that you need to know, the fundamentals and the practical skills, maybe, or what is HTTP, REST or APIs, the commands, simple commands and stuff like that. Move on to the HTML, CSS parts. That's a very fundamental for any web developer, are HTML and CSS. So these are used to develop static web pages. And to advance your learning from here, it is recommended to learn advanced styling methods. Start with the framework called as Bootstrap 5, and then move to the SAS or Tailwind CSS or CSS, there are numerous options which are there, and choose the one that best fit your approach, your learning path. Then the next that you'll move on to is DOM manipulation and JavaScript basics. You'll be moving to learn JavaScript and DOM manipulation. So JavaScript may be intimidating at this stage to learn. So instead, you can use a third-party plugins, maybe like APIs as well, for controlling the web pages, giving life to your web pages. And the next is to strengthen the foundation, strengthen the core. When I said, start learning JavaScript, you should preferably practice developing some dynamic websites using the current knowledge that you have of HTML, CSS, Bootstrap, APIs, JS. So start building projects right from the start itself. You start with a learning process, think of a project and start developing the project alongside. So that way, your learning is not just theoretical, but you're applying it somewhere. Then afterwards, you move to advanced JS concepts, which are there. You have to familiarize yourself with jQuery, Ajax, the ES6, ECMAScript concepts. It would be good to build your knowledge around these concepts. Choose your front-end stack. Next comes the front-end tech stack, the frameworks. Go for React, go for Angular or Vue, whatever you choose. All of them are JS based. So what goes best with your learning curve, what kind of companies you'll be targeting, maybe what's the current trend, based on that choose your framework strength. Strengthen your front-end skills. So mastering a library like React, Vue, Angular is a mammoth task, So to master that, that's again something big. So having a working knowledge of that technology is a great start. And the best way is to implement. Again, start making projects on those. Once you had the prelim projects, which we started at the top, now when you have the knowledge of these again tech stacks, the frameworks which are there, start implementing these also in your project. Convert the simple projects into these kinds of projects, making use of React, Angular, Vue, whatever you are choosing over there. Once you're done with this, move to the backend stack. Now you can start having or learning Node.js and Express.js framework, for backend scripting. Backend development needs some critical thinking, as it's a process that needs to be optimized and most of the times in a product. So the better the backend, the more efficient the application would be. So another concept that goes hand in hand over here is the database or the DBMS. So you can learn it as per your database preference. You go for SQL database, you go for no SQL database based on the popular choices which are out there, and you can start off with it. Then you strengthen your backend skills again. So they are not developed or they do not come, by itself. They come on a daily practice. Okay, it needs rigorous practice from you and experience to hone that skills. So implementing more projects is a great way to, sharpen the skills in this, backend area and get a solid grip of these technologies. So going through all the, the learning structure which I've laid out for the development process, you are going to be confident enough to, build a promising career in full stack development. Okay, and you're going to go an extra mile and be job ready. So that was all from my end. And apart from all the the MERN that I've talked about, you can simply go for other areas of development full stack. Like you can choose the Java path, you can choose the Python path, whatever you choose or whatever you think is trending. So if you're just starting, choose a path, you can assess what's the market trend, maybe what's going to be 10 years, 20 years from now, the trend. Assess those things and then to move forward in this area. So now handing over to Hina for further to Ruby for further discussion.
Swati, before we move on to further discussion, we have, a question as we were discussing about the career options. We have a question from Mohammed Arsalan asking which career is better in modern era? Is it data science or full stack?
I mean, like every career option has its own pros, right? So, what is your, preference? I would rather say, what do you think that if you are already a full stack developer and you are moving into that path, stay on that path, because you already invested so much to be here. If you're just starting, then over there also the need to gauge the difference also comes in. I cannot give you or I cannot say that full stack development is the only thing that you could do. No, based on the preferences what you also have towards maybe data science, you might be inclined toward data science right now, and if I tell you that no, go for full stack development only, after a while, after 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, you'll be like, no, but I was better off with data science. So that assessment has to come from you, what kind of path you want to go for. Both of the fields are equally exciting. They are full of opportunities. I would guarantee that. Why? Because data science is something, which is also at its top along with the full stack development, right? Both of the fields are here. What path you choose is going to decide that. So for me to say that no, data science is not something that you should go for, that is not a correct way to answer. I would say assess the abilities, assess the tech stacks that are involved in both of them. What is preferable to you, you choose that. So if we talk about full stack development and data science, for me they are both at top right now, and not for me, that's the stats that speaks for themselves. The world is emerging, everything is moving to AI, ML, the development part, everything is over, I would say rather digitized now. So both of the fields have so much potential in them. So both of the fields are not going anywhere, to be honest. They are here for the long run. Now the thing has to come from your end. You want to move into the development part as a full stack developer, or you want to move into the data science part as a maybe like a data engineer, scientist, or kind of that path. So that assessment has to be yours. Both of the fields are very good fields to delve into at this current market trends, what we've been noticing.
Thank you so much, Swati, for answering that question. As we are talking about the career opportunities, and I see a lot of people asking the question how you can build your career or what are the opportunities here. So I would just want to throw some light here that we at Unikaksha, we had a lot of candidates who had come from tech background and non-tech background to get into IT, learn full stack development. You would be surprised to know that we have placed people from non-tech background as well at the average package of 8 to 12 lakhs. So that's the kind of package that you can expect when you're a fresher. That's what we have given in the past. Plus, if you want to know the highest, I know that is surprising, even more, because the highest that we have given to the fresher in the past is 21 lakhs. So that is something that you can aim for when you look for a career in a full stack development. So, guys, I just want to, before we end the session, I just would want to know, in case if you have any questions, you can just type down those questions in Q&A, because we still have Swati here with us, so probably she can take that out. So we just wait for another 2 minutes and check in case, we are getting any questions from you. So while we wait, for some questions here, let's run a poll. So you have the poll right in front of you. So it is like, do you want to know more about the program? Do you want to know what you will learn in full stack development? right? So, somebody from our team, either me or somebody from my team, will get back to you in case if you want to know more about it for a good counseling session here. Poll is going to end in just some time, so kindly just mark your answers here. All right, thank you so much for answering that question. Somebody from our team will get back to you, explaining what all you will learn and how the learning process will be. All right. So as I see that we don't have any relevant questions for now, so we are going to end this session. We look forward to have you again in next Guru class and also speak to you over the phone for a counseling session. Thank you so much for being there. Thank you so much again. Thanks, bye. Have a good weekend.